The Dallas Cowboys knew it all along. We're gonna be going through that and 4 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Dallas Cowboys content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel hitting that red button down below. The first story is Cowboys knew it all along that they are Super Bowl contenders after beating the Eagles. Even though the Dallas Cowboys clinched a playoff spot after their overtime loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 15, Mike McCarthy was fixated on 11 wins. To the coach, 11 wins establishes a team as a legitimate contender, whether as a division winner or as a wild card. "I think our place is clear," McCarthy said after the Cowboys beat the Philadelphia Eagles 40-34 on Christmas Eve to improve to 11-4. With 2 regular season games remaining, the Cowboys can be no worse than the 5th seed in the NFC. If they win their last 2 games and the Eagles lose their last 2, the Cowboys would repeat as NFC East champions, and they would claim the number 1 seed if the Minnesota Vikings and San Francisco 49ers both lose one of their final 2 games. QB Dak Prescott isn't worried about a division title at the moment. "I mean, we don't necessarily control it, so for me it's about worrying about what we can control," he said. "That's building momentum, stacking games on top of games, getting the confidence, getting everything we need to move forward that we feel like we're hitting this stride as we hit the playoffs. Hey, if they go and help us out and drop a couple of games, hell yeah, we're going to take the title. That's awesome, but we have no say-so in that at this point. All we can do is continue to win out and hope on that. And I'm not a guy that hopes on a lot of failure. Obviously, I want the title, and that would be great. But that's just getting into distractions that don't pay us anything forward. Because the Cowboys play Thursday against the reeling Tennessee Titans, they have no choice but to play to win. Imagine losing to the Titans and then seeing the Eagles lose to the Saints on Sunday. They would kick themselves at missing out on an opportunity to become the first NFC East team to repeat as division champion since the 2003-4 Eagles. If the Eagles beat the Saints on Sunday, potentially the Cowboys could approach their final game against the Washington Commanders with the playoffs in mind. Since they would be locked into the number 5 spot, health considerations could trump a potential 12th or 13th win. "It's already playoff football at this point," Prescott said. When the Cowboys lost in overtime on November 13th at the Green Bay Packers, McCarthy said that was the type of game that would serve his team well in the playoffs. "Close game. Each play mattered." Having beaten Philadelphia, the NFL's best team at the moment, by overcoming 2 10-point deficits and a 3rd and 30 when trailing by a touchdown midway through the 4th quarter, will help them even more. "I feel like when you're really on that fight with adversity and you can overcome and see yourself on the positive side, like we did, it's good confidence for the team," Pro Bowl defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence said, especially headed into the playoffs. "So I feel like he's totally right. These close games, it's going to be like this down the wire, and we've got to make sure we're coming out on top." The Cowboys have won games all sorts of ways this season. They won 4 times with backup quarterback Cooper Rush while Prescott was out with a fractured thumb. They won with a stifling defense. They won with a dominating running game. They won on a last-second field goal. They won on a last-minute 98-yard drive. They won with a 33-point fourth-quarter explosion. They posted the most lopsided road win in franchise history at Minnesota. The Cowboys are the only team in the league with 3 wins against teams with at least 11 wins. They also have 5 wins against teams with at least 8 wins. No other team has more than 3. A third meeting against the Eagles in the playoffs would be something. "I think both teams probably hope we see each other again because you know what that means," McCarthy said. "This was a game we wanted to get and felt like we had to have more for ourselves, which is why the win mattered more to the Cowboys even though star quarterback Jalen Hurts didn't play for the Eagles because of a shoulder injury." "Very confident," Prescott said. "Yeah, I mean, obviously being the 3rd time, splitting 1 and 1, very confident. It's something we've talked about throughout the week, that we've got to come out here and put our best foot forward, represent who we are. But at the same time, understand that this might be the first of 2 times here late in the year that we're going to have to play these guys. I think that was a good win. It was a good win just for the team. A complimentary win. I know, obviously, they're going to think about that the next time we play them, and that's what you want." The second story is the update on Odell Beckham Jr. signing with the Cowboys. Following his Dallas Cowboys' nail-biting 40-37 victory over the Philadelphia Eagles, team owner Jerry Jones spent part of Christmas Eve opting to decline a gift. "It's not realistic to think about having him in any meaningful way for the playoffs," Jones said when asked about the much ballyhooed pursuit of Odell Beckham Jr. "That's not dismissing the future, but it is dismissing, for the most part, the reality of him getting in here and helping us in the playoffs. In other words, the 2022 version of the Odell obsession is dead." Though maybe Jerry can claim he was making a prediction about March 2023 when Beckham's ticking time bomb knee will presumably be healthy enough to actually allow him to play. But as Beckham continues to rehab from a torn ACL he suffered in last February's Super Bowl, the facts have become fairly clear. OBJ's claims aside, he is simply not ready to play football. And while some continue to buy what he's selling, there is simply no medical proof of any such thing. "I haven't made the decision," Beckham recently said on where he plans on signing. "I'm not saying I couldn't step in and play regular season, but I don't see the point. I really don't. I'd rather play when that pressure's on." Jones surely feels that by developing a relationship with Beckham now, there will be a clearer path to signing him then. What the Cowboys may be missing there, Beckham's search for a desired $20 million APY contract will, based on his history, have nothing to do with loyalty or relationships. He's been seeking a payday, which is well within his rights, and Dallas has been seeking a reasonable investment. We know the Cowboys talked contract with him, and with reasonable now unobtainable, it'll be newcomer T.Y. Hilton being asked to provide a fresh spark to the Dak Prescott-led offense and the CeeDee Lamb-led receivers room. Hilton did just that on Christmas Eve as he debuted and made one of the biggest plays of the game when he hauled in a 52-yard catch on a key 3rd and 30 conversion to fuel the Cowboys' comeback over Philly. Said Hilton, "I can still play." Sparked us, and there is the OBJ problem. He cannot, at this time, play. He cannot, at this time, spark anything but headlines. The third story is what can T.Y. Hilton bring to the Cowboys' offense. Hilton has always had a slim frame, but throughout his career, he has been a willing blocker in the run game. We all understand that the job of a wideout is far more detailed than helping out their running backs in space, but blocking and in a bigger sense, the Cowboys' run game opens up everything that makes this Dallas offense click. Hilton is a seasoned blocker, only drawing 13 penalties when run blocking throughout his career. For reference, CeeDee Lamb, through less than 3 years of his career, already has 10 penalties to his name. Hilton comes into Dallas as the highest-graded run blocker in their wide receiver room, with the ability to add a new wrinkle in the Cowboys' rushing attack. The fourth story why Derrick Henry and stars might sit out. The Dallas Cowboys kept alive their slim hopes of taking the NFC East division from the Philadelphia Eagles in their come-from-behind 37-34 win on Saturday. At the same time, the Tennessee Titans' hopes of winning their division are very much alive and will come down to one game. But that's the point at which the Cowboys and Titans' paths differ. Despite dropping 5 straight games, including their 19-14 loss to the NFL's worst Houston Texans, the Titans must beat the Jacksonville Jaguars in their Week 18 clash to win the AFC South. With that in mind, as the Jags game is the only one that matters, the Titans could rest stars like running back Derrick Henry in their Thursday home game against the Cowboys. "We got some guys who have played a lot of football for us that are far less than 100%, Mike Vrabel said. "It's those guys that I appreciate that, no matter what, find a way to be here for this team. So we'll try to figure out who we have and who's available and then make some decisions."